June 15, 1944. Philippine Sea, Western Pacific. A thin line of dawnlight climbs over the horizon, shimmering across endless blue water. The ocean is calm, deceptively peaceful, but beneath that stillness lies thunder. Metal giants sit poised on waves, engines humming like caged beasts, steam hissing from catapult valves. American sailors stand at their stations on the flight deck, goggles down, leather straps tight, smelling salt, fuel, and the sharp bite of machine oil. Up above, the first Hellcats shimmer in the morning sunlight, wings folding open like the talons of hunting eagles. To the men of the United States Navy, this scene is familiar, routine even. But somewhere over that same horizon, another force watches, and cannot believe what it sees. A formation of Japanese scout planes, slender, lightly built, and scarred from months of attrition, cuts across the morning sky. Their pilots know the sea intimately. They have trained on carriers since before the war started. They launched Surprise on Pearl Harbor. They humbled empires. For years they believed their navy was unmatched, untouchable, the most elite naval aviation force on Earth. But nothing prepared them for the sight rising out of the Pacific mist before them. At first it looks like a dark smudge. Then a line. And then, impossibly, an entire floating city. Not one carrier. Not two. But a vast armada, great hulking silhouettes stretching farther than binoculars can track. Decks the size of football stadiums. Flight elevators bigger than buildings. Command towers rising like steel cathedrals above the ocean. Essex class. The American giants. The Japanese pilots do not speak. Shock has its own silence. Their cockpits rumble, engines vibrate under gloved hands, yet for a brief moment every heartbeat seems louder than every machine. They had heard rumors, whispers of new American carriers, faster, larger, capable of turning the tide, but rumors are one thing. Seeing them in the flesh, steel gleaming, aircraft buzzing like hornets around a hive, is something else entirely. One pilot mutters into his radio, voice strained, these are not ships. They are factories of war. He's right. These carriers are not simply warships, they are floating airfields, industrial machines, each designed to launch, recover, refuel, rearm, and relaunch squadrons with relentless rhythm. American deck crews move like a well-oiled ballet, green shirts guiding aircraft, yellow shirts signaling launches, red shirts preparing ammunition. Every hand knows its rhythm. Every second matters. A plane touches down, hooks the arrestor wire, rolls aside, and another one is already on the catapult, engine screaming for flight. This is not the Japanese system of elegant, elite pilots operating in small numbers. This is mass-produced, unstoppable aviation warfare, American style. And suddenly, the Japanese pilots feel it, a chill colder than any wind at altitude. It sinks not into bone, but into conviction. Their empire's momentum is gone. Their aura of naval supremacy, shattered. The Pacific War they once led is slipping, no, flooding, from their grasp. Back aboard the USS Bunker Hill, Commander Jocko Clark stands at the bridge, binoculars raised. He doesn't yet see the Japanese scouts, but he senses the moment as clearly as if history were whispering in his ear. Launch the next wave, he orders calmly. Engines roar. Wings fold down. Bombers rumble forward. The carrier trembles under the fury of propulsion. And in a final violent surge, the first aircraft explodes off the deck, catapulted into open sky. By the time the Japanese pilots bank homeward, streaking back across the sea, the American strike group is already airborne. The contrast is stark. On the American ships, there is noise, speed, and endless reserves, crews refreshed, ammunition stacked, engines plentiful, replacement aircraft waiting in hangars like iron seeds ready to bloom. On the Japanese vessels, there are empty launch rails, thinning pilots, and the creeping dread of attrition. Hours later, aboard a Japanese supercarrier, officers gather around charts, their faces tight and pale. Reports spill in like falling dominoes, multiple U.S. carriers sighted. Essex class confirmed. Enemy flight groups increasing. A young lieutenant stumbles over his words, "Sirs, they are building these faster than we can sink them." Silence. That is the moment, not with explosions, not with fire, but with a quiet intake of breath, when reality sets in. Japan cannot win an industrial war against a nation that can float entire air bases into the Pacific faster than shipyards can burn them. The Battle of the Philippine Sea begins, not with a shot, but with a realization. And then, the fury. A thunder rolls across the sky as American fighters slash through clouds like steel fangs. Hellcats scream downward in attack, engines howling, tracer fire stitching the sky. Japanese Zeros rise to meet them, brave, maneuverable, deadly in talented hands, but hopelessly outnumbered. One ace pulls hard left, wings straining, engine whining. He has spent years mastering aerial ballet, but today ballet meets brute force. A Hellcat descends behind him, guns blinking, and the Zero erupts in flame, trailing smoke toward the sea. Below, American carriers maintain a relentless tempo. Pilots land, hop out, gulp water, wipe sweat, and jump into another aircraft. Mechanics slam ammunition belts into wings. Deck crews haul torpedoes like steel torches of war. There is no slowing, no hesitation. The Pacific sky becomes a conveyor belt of steel. The Japanese fleet, once masters of surprise at Pearl Harbor, now finds itself trapped in a storm it cannot match. Their pilots are brave, impossibly brave, but bravery does not refill fuel tanks. Courage does not replace lost aircraft. Honor cannot rebuild factories bombed to rubble. And each time an American carrier sends up another squadron, the truth hardens like an anchor sinking into deep water. The Pacific is no longer theirs. Aboard one Japanese flagship, Admiral Jisaburo Ozawa stands silent, watching smoke trails fall like dying comets. Younger officers wait anxiously, hoping for a spark, a command, a plan. But Ozawa understands war at a deeper level. He knows momentum when he feels it, and he feels its absence now. "We face an enemy," he murmurs, "that builds ships the way we build dreams, more than we can count, faster than we can fight." Across the ocean, American sailors lounge briefly against bulkheads, sweat-soaked, adrenaline-buzzed. One wipes grime from his brow and laughs breathlessly. "Can you believe it? Essex class number 12 just joined the fleet. Number 12. He shakes his head in awe of his own nation's muscle. They won't be able to stop us. Nobody could. And somewhere, deep inside every Japanese briefing room, an unspoken truth blooms like a bruise. Their pilots are extraordinary. Their courage is legendary. But they are fighting a storm made of factories, oil, steel, and logistics, and that kind of storm does not tire. Evening falls. Flames still flicker on the horizon. The ocean swallows twisted aircraft and silent wreckage. And as carrier deck lights glow against the night, illuminating the constant motion of cranes and elevators, it becomes clear, the age of Japanese naval dominance has ended. The giants have arrived. And they are here to stay. This is not simply the story of warships. It is the story of industrial power, of a nation that could turn assembly lines into aircraft engines, automobile factories into airplane plants, and steel towns into shipyards. A nation that fought not only with bravery, but with innovation, efficiency, and overwhelming production. The Essex-class carriers did not just sail into the Pacific, they reshaped it. They redefined naval warfare. They transformed oceans into runways and distance into irrelevance. For the Japanese pilots who first saw them, all gave way to dread, dread to resignation, resignation to history. They returned with a message commanders already feared. America was not just at war. America had become war. And that, more than any individual battle, sealed the fate of the Pacific. The ocean rolls on, quiet once again. But the echoes remain, the roar of engines, the shock in astonished eyes, the heavy silence of realization. The greatest aircraft carriers the world had ever seen turned the tide. And in doing so, they changed history forever.